So thank you very much, Ray. Let me introduce N-Infinite, the technology we have been developing for the last 6 years for getting augmented sample to your current surveys. So what is exactly augmented sample? It's some kind of very sophisticated imputation that relies on the power of machine learning. So you have your current answers for the current survey, but you also have a lot of former users, former panelists with a lot of profiling information that sometimes is shared between the current panelists and the older ones. So how it works? It's easy. You get two groups: the train group, the people that actually answer the survey, and the predict group, that's the people that you have profiled but didn't answer the survey. So then you get all those groups together and you train between 10 and 250 models for each question in the questionnaire. And many times you train models for each option in the question. So the system, the algorithm, automatically picks up the model that performs best and trains the entire questionnaire. Then it starts to predict in a sequential manner to respect the logic of the questionnaire. So it starts with the first question and all the profiling information, the second question using the first question and all the profiling information, and so on. This is the first step. The second step that we call smart match is a feature when you have very similar groups in train and predict that helps to match the representation of each class in the questionnaire. So this leads to better results. And the third pass, that's very important, is the one that enforces the entire logic of the questionnaire. So we have been delivering consistent responses, synthetic responses that look exactly that the questionnaire responses from field. You cannot distinguish one from the other. This is the power of our algorithm. And what are the uses? Why use augmented sample? First, we call this a quality tool. And why a quality tool? Because when you train, you take only the best responses you have from field. There is no need to put everything into the bag, because the best models are the ones that are trained with the best information. You don't need to put everything because you are not reaching some quotas. You leave this to the technology. So you can also expect results that are better than if you take the entire group of respondents, including the ones that are not really engaged with the survey. Second, in terms of cost, it's very, very much affordable than what you have if you run through a panel. Why? Because you don't have incidences and you don't have to pay the panelists for the synthetic answers. You only pay the ones that you use for training the models. The third, it's speed. Typically, when you run a questionnaire through a panel, you get the first 80% of responses in the first 20% of time. And this is more than enough to train the models and predict with the information you have. So you don't have to wait in the long tail to the hard to reach audiences to appear. And difficult segments are the part of the tool when it really it's a star, because you have a lot of profiled people from these hard to reach audiences, but they are not in your current survey. So with this tool, you can predict the results for the current questionnaire for those hard to reach people. So it's really powerful because you get all the quotas in a timely manner. There are many other advantages, but one I want to tell you is that, for example, if you forget to include, or your customer tells that they forget to include an important question in the questionnaire, you can put it at the end of the questionnaire and later predict just this question for all the users. So you don't have to rerun the survey from scratch. That's very important. But there are many things I can say, but nothing so powerful as seeing a live demo. So let's take this typical survey file that I have here, where you got about 15 profiling questions, the responses to about 15 profiling questions or less, the typical age group and gender. There are many users. This is almost 1,000 long survey. This is 960 long survey, where I just took out the last 100 responses. So as you can see, these are the fields, but I have deleted all the information. So this is in the same file, you have both training and predict data. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to use the actual live tool that people can now access at tools at LivePanel.ai. And just I'm going to drop the file here, okay? Okay, it's already dropped. And while we have many tweaks, many improvements that you can do in the advanced mode, we are going to just say start process. So what the tool is going to do, it's to upload the file, to compare with which fields are complete and which are not, and start a training and predict process. I have already a finished data file for the exact same data file. So after it ends, say it's finished, you can download the merge file. I'm going to do right now. But first, let me see how it ends. So this is the merge file. As you can see, this is the train file. And I'm going to go up to register 860. I'm going to open edition. I'm just going to sort by number, okay, here. So as you can see, I'm going to immobilize the upper row. As you can see, these rows are marked with a T letter, means that they were being using for train. And then I'm going to scroll up to P, which are the predictions. Okay, here there are the predictions. I'm going to fill with yellow just to recognize the difference between one and the other. As you can see, the patterns are exactly the same. You cannot distinguish information from train to predict. But how do you compare that this is performing good? Okay, the tool also has this comparison tool, this dashboard that automatically generates. Actually, I have it open. When you can see the relative and average deviation between any fields. As you can see, they are as low as 2-3%. It depends, of course, how diverse, how different are train and predict groups. But you can see also the responses for each one of the questions. And here, starting with P, you can see the distribution between train and predict. In this case, maybe they are not exactly the same, or yes, and it depends on the diversity of the train and predict. As you can see, the age groups and gender are not exactly the same in this case, okay? But you have the tool for comparison. Why the deviation is so high here? Because this is an open-ended text question, and typically it tends to be higher, the difference there. Okay, so it's, as you can see, the tool is very easy to use. If I go again to the dashboard, the data is already being processed. Actually, it's half of the training process, and you can follow it. It will end in a couple of minutes, so we can go back to the presentation and let's see what it sent. So how we do verify? Okay, I show you our tools, but this is industry validated. How? We already have published 2 papers. Actually, one of the papers is published on SMR's AI Task Force website. That's really an honor for us, where you can see the entire procedure and the comparison field by field. We have a new 2024 white paper that includes smart match technology that is available for our viewers from now. And also, we have been honored by third-party evaluation, like the people from QuestMindshare that actually presented in SMR Athens just a couple of months ago. Less than a couple of months ago, their results for their comparison, as you can see, the results of our predictions are follow very close what happens in field, because the technology is based on actual responses. This is not LLM based. This is not doing hallucination. This is not a magic booster. This is a tool which can work very well in automatic mode, but also have many tweaks that can adapt to each user requirements. And in terms of performance, it's really fast. Each process, it's got their own quality checks inside. So before we deliver the predictions to you, we already do automatically many checks that we have been developing in this 6 years working with this. Of course, there are limitations and considerations that we are very transparent to say to the people. We know this is the most advanced tool in the synthetic data field for quantitative studies. We completely believe in our experience in the years we have been developing this algorithm. But like any technology, if you feed this with bad quality data, it's garbage in, garbage out. So you are not going to get good results if you don't take out the bad quality or not committed people from the panel. Second, it's important that you have at least some minimum representation in the trained data of the hard-to-reach audiences. If you need 50 people in a segment, it's recommended that you have at least 2, 3, 4 people in this segment. And while this tool is enabled to work in open-ended fields, what it's going to do right now, we are working on it, it's going to input the most probable answer, but it's one of the existing answers. So this is not a tool designed for qualitative, but for quantitative projects. So let's check out last time about this project. I'm going to update. It's almost predict, so it will take a couple of minutes more that we don't have. But I encourage to every company seeing this webinar to try it by themselves. Thank you very much. All the people here can just enter and try it today. It is open. It is completely open, so they can just take your files, take your survey, just delete some records, just drag and drop, just make it run. We are going to be close to give support to anyone who wants to try. And there are many news coming. There is a killer feature that my co-founder doesn't want me to tell, but there are going to be great news in the coming days. Thank you, Ray.
Absolutely. And it's unusual with a new technology to be able to try it on old data. So this is one of the great things about this. You can take an existing study, delete some records, only you know the answer to those, and then test them on these sort of platforms, and you'll get a good understanding of what's
We encourage people to do so. Please compare, please benchmark, because we feel so confident with this. We have been working for so much time delivering real projects that we know what are we putting there. So there are some questions.
Yes. So the first one, I think is a really good question, which is, how does it perform compared to weighting data? Because traditionally, if the sample was, if we were too short on one group, we would upweight that group.
Yes, and it's a great question. You are not going to see big differences in the big picture. If you see it from very far away, you're going to see very similar distribution between weighted data and our results. The difference, the reason that why we developed this tool, it's about drill down. When you do zoom on the information, and the information is weighted, you are not going to gain detail. With weighted data, you only have the original responses you have. So maybe you have 5 old ladies instead of 50, and when you do zoom, with weighted data, you are going to still have the same 5 old ladies. With this tool, you will actually have 50 old ladies that will answer in the same trend, in a trend that it's related to the age group and gender, but they also will have the diversity of any individual. So there are other trends that are captured by the machine learning models, because we are not only age, range, and gender. If not, every person with the same age and the same gender would behave in the same way. So the magic, or the most, we are not talking about magic. This is not magic here. This is no LLM here. There is no magic boosting. It's just machine learning done with a lot of seasoning, a lot of years doing this. But the value relies on drill down. You do zoom and you get valuable insights from that group of people.
Okay, another question. Is the process that you're using data fusion with multiple versions of predictions merging to the final data set? You said that this was not an LLM. So what sort of approaches are you using?
So yes, there is no LLM. There are no hallucinations here because we are not running through LLMs. We do not do fusion, but we do the smart match process that actually compares the results between training and predict. So it enhances the quality of the data if the training and predict groups are similar. But we do not face hallucinations or artifacts made by LLMs because we basically do not use. Actually, to be true, we use LLMs as helpers in the advanced mode to process, for example, brands for typos. So as this is machine learning, if you want to be every brand to be represented, you need to correct typos. So with this tool, for example, there are many ways to write the same brand, like Coca-Cola, Coca dash Cola, Coca space Cola. So we do, if you want, you can do a pre-process using the help of LLMs to normalize to the same spelling for the same brand. But we do not use for training and predicting. There is not a model, there is not a black box approach. Here, this is an algorithm that can train and predict in an automatic manner thousands of machine learning models for each project.
How do clients react to this? And how do you explain how it works?
Yes.
Do clients sometimes get a perception that now they can simply pay less for data?
No, this is not for paying less. I must emphasize, this is a quality tool because we have many customers that didn't want the results of mixed sample anymore. So when you need to reach hard to reach targets, or you need to reach the deadlines, and maybe you run through many panels, and at the end you don't know where is information coming. It's not more third party, it's 4 party, 5 party, 6 party data. You put everything on the back and you get different quality. So you lower the thresholds to come to the deadline. We are going exactly the opposite approach. We just take the responses that we really trust in. We look to the open text to see if somebody put bad words or no commitment and take them out. So we deliver best quality to this tool, and that's what our customer recognize. The other thing they recognize is that they have the flexibility and speed that they didn't have before. So as the example I told you, when they forget to include a question in the questionnaire, and we say, okay, let's continue with the same schedule because we are going to include the question right now and ask the question to the last respondents, and you get results for the entire database. They love it. So this is the quality tools.
Okay, so I'm going to take another one of the questions from the chat, then go to the Q&A. So how does it perform compared with projections to the universe instead of projections against the data that was collected?
It's a good question. We always work with the collected data, and we always work with the former panelists that we have well profiled, and this profile can come from different ways. The ones that check to the universe are the customers, are the feedback that we have. It's great. We tell them that we are using this tool. We tell them that it is over programmatic, over driver sample in terms of quality. They do first and only the leap of faith, but once they realize they are getting better quality insights and the capabilities for drill down, they actually love it. We already have other companies that are using this tool. We already have paying customers. This is not new because we have been working for 6 years, but actually we have software as a service customers that are entering right like anyone can do right now, and they are using the tool and they are delivering to customers.
Okay, so we'll try to squeeze 2 in. How do we decide on the minimum base of the complete data we use to create the new data set? You mentioned traditional panel gets 80% of the completes in 20% of the time. Are you working with 8? Does that mean that you target 80%?
No, you can work with really less. We recommend to start with 70 to 80%, but there are some cases where you don't get the sample at all, and you can work with 50%, 40%. There is also a very good tool to work with incompletes. So, for example, if your panel is giving you back a lot of incompletes because the survey is too long, you can use this tool to complete the incompletes. So there is not going to be 100% synthetic data at all. It will be a hybrid sample, all from the panel, all from field, but just think about this. You are running a survey. A good user is answering with
with a lot of commitment, but he or she lives in the 90% of the survey because the phone runs out, because they have some issue at home or whatever. So you can recover with high precision the rest of the survey and use this. And typically, a lot of panels doesn't even bill for the incomplete sample.
Okay, so quick question. Lots and lots of countries have rules that you can't transfer the data from Germany to the UK, from the UK to the Argentine, from Argentina,
Yes.
from the USA, etc. Where are the servers and how do you work with this process?
We work with fully anonymized and encoded data. No PAI. We don't even need to know the contents of the survey, the contents of the question. So we can, this is machine learning. It can work with numbers. It doesn't need to talk with the data. There is no language involved. So you can send us completely anonymized data. Our current servers are in Amazon, in Virginia. We are not facing heavy GPDR issues because we don't even know who are the data from and what is the content. We can work with completely anonymized data.